Today I'm going to show you how to rig an old school bait, the tube. It's often overlooked and dang nearly all the time always forgotten about. Learning how to rig tube baits is an old school tactic that still catches loads of bass. My name's Wesley Littlefield, and today I'm showing you 3 ways to rig tube baits. And if you stay till the end, I might even show you 4. So I'm gonna rank these in the order of my favorite way to do it and how I do it, except for the last one, the fourth one that I will give you here in a little while is like my second favorite way to rig it. So let's start with Texas rigging it. Texas rigging it is just like you'd rig Texas rig a worm. You're gonna start at the top. You're gonna come in just 1/4 of an inch, come back out, run it all the way back up, and put it back in all the way through the tube, and make sure you go all the way through and kind of adjust it a little bit. Make sure that hook is pointing out. There it is. There you go. You want to make sure it's straight just like that, and that's your Texas rig. It's really simple. That's why it's my favorite. It's just like Texas rigging a worm. So if you know how to Texas rig a worm, it's great. If not, I'll leave a video right here that you guys can check out on how to Texas rig soft plastics, pretty much any soft plastic. Now let's talk about the drop shot. First of all, we've got a tire drop shot. If you don't know how to do that, I've got a video on that. I'll leave linked right here. Basically, how I'm gonna do it is I'll nose hook it. Now there's a couple of different ways to nose hook soft plastics. Some guys come in like the top side and then come out the actual very tip of the bait. And that way, when it floats, it actually looks kind of like that. That's one way you can do it. It works. Other guys actually come in from the very top and go in and then come back out like you would a Texas rig, and then they just leave it there. That works too. Personal preference in my opinion, but the drop shot is another way that you can rig a tube. It's just a little bit different presentation than what they're used to seeing. You know, most of the time they're either seeing like a fluke on here or some other swim kind of bait, and this with just a little bit different tail, a little bit different action, can trigger a lot of bites. Try rigging your tubes with a drop shot. As I mentioned, this way is my least favorite way, but it's the way that you see most guys rig a tube, and I think it's just the old school way, so we hadn't really figured out another way to do it. But that is a jig head and a tube. So why I don't like it is because you don't have the jig head tied on yet, and I've tried putting jig heads on when they're tied on into the tube, and it just doesn't work. So hold the tube upside down and insert this jig head into the tube and push it all the way to the front until you feel it stop. Now these tubes that this specific tube that I've got, I actually have some that are like solid halfway down, so this technique wouldn't work with, or this rigging wouldn't work with those very well, but you could Texas rig them or drop shot them, so I still use them. But anyways, push that head all the way up to the front. Now we're gonna find where the eye comes out of that head, and we're gonna push and break through. And now you're gonna have to hold it down and feed your line through it and tie it on. Another reason I don't like it is because it's not weedless. You're gonna catch snag on everything, so you're not gonna wanna use this like flipping or anything, but like as an open water bait, that's how you rig a tube on a jig head. It's really simple. It's just kind of frustrating that you've got to cut the line, take it off, and then change your tubes out, and it's not weedless. You guys thought I forgot to mention the 4th and final one. Well, I didn't. It's actually just like the first one, except you're gonna Texas rig it weightless. So you're gonna leave the weight off of there. You can see I still got this weight clearly, but take the weight off and rig it weightless. It just has a little bit different action. Of course, obviously it sinks slower, and it's often killer in really, really shallow areas. So there's your 4th and final one, rigging it weightless. I didn't forget about it. Now that you know how to rig a tube, it's time to learn how to fish a tube. If you check out the video down below me. I'll show you everything you need to know to get started fishing tubes. Other than that, I want you guys to always remember that education is important, but fishing is essential.